All right, what's going on, man? Today, as you guys can see by the title, we're gonna talk about the JBA. But I got some bold predictions, right? I think the JBA, they're gonna eclipse the WNBA, right? Because even though they're not competing leagues, I don't think anybody's competing with the WNBA. I mean, just let's be quite frank, nobody watches that shit. Uh, the JBA, they're not competing with other leagues like people think they are, but I think they're going to do very well because they've created a nice little niche for themselves, right? So if you look at what the JBA wants to do, they want to produce pro players, right? They don't want people to go pro and stay there. They want to produce pro players, because this man LeVar Ball, his goal is to eventually one day own an NBA team, right? So even he knows that the JBA has a niche and needs to stay there. So with the it's called the Junior Basketball Association, you know what I'm saying? So it's set to be at that level. So people got to stop looking at it as the prices, LeVar Ball, he psychologically prices things just like Kanye, like other people. They price things real expensive, yada, yada, and then they adjust to the market, you know what I'm saying? So that's how business works. You set your goal high and you adjust to the market. iPhones, they always start off real high, you know what I'm saying? And after a year or two, and it depreciates in value because it adjusts to the market. That's just how it goes. So people shouldn't be going crazy over these ticket prices. If you don't like the price, don't buy it. He'll adjust, or he's gonna go bank, or the business is just gonna go bankrupt. So I don't know, everyone's tripping about that. So basically, the JBA, this is the best thing for young ballers, you know what I'm saying, who are basically trying to get paid professionally and stay in the States. You can get paid to go pro, but then you have to go out of state. You have to go out of the country. You got to go to Europe or Australia or China, and that can work out well for you too. But a lot of people want to stay home. And this is really good, especially if you're in that 16, because this league is only for people 16 to 21 years old, right? So if you're 16, you can't really leave the country yet, because your parents, hey man, just go to the JBA, talk to them about it, because the JBA only accepts you if you're degree seeking, like you're trying to get your GED, or you're still taking high school classes, or if you're still in the high school age, if you haven't gotten your diploma yet. So you have to be working towards finishing high school. The reason I like this league, man, is that literally this man LeVar Ball has created a business for his sons, right? That pertains to this, that he can hand his sons and they can control this and own it and just run the family business continually, man, because there's always going to be more ballers for however long this society lasts. There's always going to be more ballers, who are trying to get an up and coming. They just need a chance, right? This provides LeVar Ball with a family business that he's completely in control. And this honestly is the best thing for young ballers because you can get paid, you get paid $3,000 a month, right? So one thing they don't tell you is that when you sign that college contract and you've given up all rights to make money, like you're an amateur, you can't make any commercial. There's no money for you, right? So you'll be in your room, your dorm room, starving like Marvin, hungry as shit. You know what I mean? You're over there you eating ramen noodles every night. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers get tired of that, man. They gotta depend on all kinds of people to bring them food and to go anywhere. It's hard to sometimes even fly home or drive home. That shit is rough. So these players, they get paid $3,000 a month. They make 60% of their jersey sales. Well, I can tell you, no college player does. Not even the motherfucker who wins the Heisman. Yeah, he might get paid under the table, but if he ever gets caught, that's his ass. And you make 60% of your jersey sales, and you also get $3K a month. Like as a 16-year-old, who the fuck would not want to do that? Like they tell you about, going to college. You can that $3,000 a month. Let's say you play for the JBA for 3 months that year. You get taxed, so you get what? You get about 7 to 8K. 7 to 8K. That can more than pay for community college. You know what I'm saying? You play for them for 2 years. You're 16. You tried out for the JBA. You got your GED. After you play with them for 6 months over the 2 years, 6 to 8 months, you got yourself over 10K, stacked up. And let's say you don't want to go pro anymore, you got your 10K you stacked up off your regular salary. And then you got the 60% of the jersey sales of people that bought your jersey. You'd be surprised. Some people actually might really get into this league and start buying people's jerseys from when they're young. A lot of people do that shit. They buy jerseys from one of the players in high school, So this league is a great option, man, because college will always be there. Never let anyone tell you different. College will always be there waiting for your money, okay? They're not going to deny you because of how old you are. Lots of 80-year-old people going to college for the first time, more power to you. But I know lots of people who are way up there in age still going to school because the college will not discriminate against age, I promise you. But the thing with this is the JBA pays for travel, food, and lodging expenses. right? So you get treated just like you're a pro, all right? For example, this is why I think the JBA is really going to succeed, because you got stories like this. My man Keezo Brown, right? This kid from Chicago, he's a guard. He was, he was doing well, but this man, I think he had like mental problems, something like that going on in high school, and he was just out of it for that year, during his junior year. He was already highly touted, and he kind of fell off. His status fell off because he wasn't there to defend his spot. He was ranked pretty high, and he came back for his senior year. I think he went to he joined the JBA right after that, right? And this man played there for like a month, got his salary for a month, made whatever he made off of jersey sales. And then my man went to go play overseas in France. And right then and there, JBA already got he's their first prospect to graduate and go pro. Like to graduate from their league and go pro. That's the whole goal of the JBA. They got 8 teams, 10 players on each. So you got 80 players, and already 1 out of that 80 went pro. Your chances are to go pro, like out of all high school players, period, very low. It's like 1 in a million, right? And already out of his league, 1 out of 80 went pro. And they're already getting paid. As amateurs, they're getting paid. So all these games are they air through Facebook Live. And the real thing that people should be looking at is like, not just attendance for JBA, because they're starting up right now. Everybody's got to start somewhere. But the JBA, these motherfuckers are getting sponsored by like BMW, Cadillac, and Mercedes-Benz. The champions of their league get those cars. They get luxury cars as a reward, right? So if you're a champion of the JBA, out of the 8 teams, you got to beat 7 other teams, right? 7 other teams, champions, they get luxury cars. And you can do with that luxury car? Instead of keep it, you could sell that motherfucker. And right then and there, you almost got a six-figure salary playing JBA as a 17, 18-year-old, right? Living in your country. You don't have to go nowhere. And at the end, I think sometime in fall and winter of 2018, the JBA is they're gonna have their top players do an international tour, right? So they're gonna play like other teams from like Europe and shit, and like England, France, Greece, Germany, even Lithuania. They might play Vytautas. They might play. They're definitely. I think they're gonna play Australia as well, but. They're gonna play a lot of teams internationally. All that's gonna do is just build more press for you as a young player, right? So it's just more training, more press. You get to focus on your craft, and you get paid. You get so many opportunities doing this, right? And I just think I was looking at Melo and G-Lo, man. Them boys are selling tickets, man. The crowd, it's not packed. All right, let's get that straight. It's not packed. But when you look at like Ice Cube's big 3, number 1, they cut off half that court. So if you cut off half the court, and then you don't need as many seats. You dim the lights up top. You know what I'm saying? You do some tricky schemes. You move everybody down. Automatically you look more crowded. You look more packed. All right, Drew League. Everybody gets fooled with Drew League. Drew League, them shits are in like high school gyms, right? Everybody's saying you can go watch pros. Yeah, but the whole thing is about the JBA is to watch these players come from young. And trust me, he will have to adjust those prices sooner or later, right? And those crowds it's not empty. If you go look at the G-Lo 53-point performance, his first game, I was watching that the other day. The crowd was like, I don't want to say half full, but like a third or a little over a third full. Like that shit looked pretty decent. I was like, okay, they're coming up. But in all seriousness, we got to look at this because I'm just looking at the WNBA. I think a lot of people are not covering this as much as we really should. At the fact that WNBA, it's really barely surviving. This thing has been dying off for years. Not crazy, but it's definitely hit decline. After the I looked at the 1998 season. The 1998 season, WNBA averaged about 10.8 thousand fans attending each game, right? I couldn't find what the NBA looked like, but I just want to tell you guys what it looked like from 1998 to 2018. So 20 years ago, right? WNBA averaged 10.8 thousand fans in attendance at each game. The average attendance for the 2018, 20 years forward, right now, is 7.7 thousand. That is absolutely terrible. You should not drop off by 25%. That's about 25%, right? That's embarrassing. You are dying off. Nobody's watching you. If you look at the commercials and stuff that the NBA tries to put on, where they say, "Oh yeah, I love watching those girls, man. Yeah, I learned stuff from them." All the line and shit. Hashtag watch me work. Oh please. the fuck out of here. Oh, please. The JBA is in its infant stage right now, right? And it's growing. You should be growing. In business, you should be growing or maintaining. Your numbers should either look the same. That's what they do in basketball too. If your numbers and your productivity, because if your numbers are down, they expect you to be winning. If you aren't winning and your numbers are down, you're dropping off. You're decreasing. They look at your productivity. You should either be producing the same amount or doing better. That's all they want to see, right? When you're declining, it's time for you to go. It's time to bring you all back and just put one between your eyes. Just end your misery. All right. If we look at if we look at it, the WNBA, they play, and just to compare the 2018 WNBA average attendance to the NBA average attendance, the NBA more than doubled that. More than double that, and the NBA has 30 teams. WNBA only has 10. Right? So then if we look at the grand scheme, WNBA only had 1.5 million people show up to games last year, total. The NBA had over 22 million. They're not in the same stratosphere. They're not in the same. They're not the same. It's not even close. The NBA literally looks after the WNBA like a child that has never grown up, like it is never going to grow up. Right? And it's sad, man. It's really sad watching the WNBA piggyback off of them. The NBA really allows this to happen. They really allow the WNBA to piggyback off of them. But in all seriousness, I promise you, with LeVar Ball's with his head that he has on his shoulders, and his will and his plan, he always has a plan. All right, a man like that, he's got a plan. I respect him for that. This man, he will not allow the JBA to hit a decline the way WNBA has. I promise you, he will grow. This will become a very big staple. I'm not saying it's going to take down NCAA, but I will say this: it will definitely take a lot of players away from the NCAA that want to play and they're serious. I mean, they did reach out to 80 blue chip recruits and none of them wanted to do it. That's because it was the first year. When you're a blue chip recruit and you're 5-star and you're guaranteed to make it, why the hell would you switch up your plan for something that's just coming up and just fresh and new? Why would you do that? That's stupid. So of course they're not going to take this risk and try the JBA out. Why should they? But when you're a 4-star recruit, you don't have as much freedom. 3-star recruits, you don't have as much freedom. 2- and 1-star recruits, they're desperate. They're hungry. All right. They're going to try it. And that's why right now you have the lower talent, the lower base talent pool doing JBA right now. But I can promise you, in a couple years, when more and more players are saying I'm telling you, you will hit this point if you're a player. You're like, man, you could really get injured at any time. You can feel it. And to get injured playing college ball, where you have no check coming in, if you get injured, you could lose your scholarship, and right then and there you owe the college money. At least with JBA, if you get injured, you were earning money, you're putting money in your bank account, and you can dip out and you can start going to college after that if you want to do that, or whatever business you want to go into. But I can promise you the JBA will eclipse WNBA. Why do I say that? Because WNBA will cease to exist very soon. If 20 years, and the NBA has been pushing WNBA hard for a long time. They even did that movie Lovin' Basketball, which I believe was a planned thing to try and support the WNBA. That's why you had my man in the end. Spoiler alert. In the end, my man looking like his knee popped out of place or something like that. He can't play no more. He was sorry when he went to the NBA. And then the girl, she's just receiving all kinds of accolades. She's such a baller. I mean, if you saw in the end, he was whipping her ass. His knee was busted up and he was whipping her ass. You know what I'm saying? That's just really how it is, man. It's just telling the truth. The NBA is in a totally different level than WNBA. And, because of that, people who are trying to get into the NBA, the JBA, who's offering such a unique situation and a unique opportunity for players who want to get paid and want to practice and only focus on basketball. The opportunity that the JBA is offering them, and the fact that they will be rising and the WNBA will be falling, the JBA will eclipse the WNBA. All right, man. That's the video. That's my thoughts, my analysis. I'm gonna be putting up another one soon. Got more coming. All right.